Hello and welcome to Fan/Fiction with Andrew/Zach. I'm Zach Dunsing.
And I'm Andrew Gum.
In this special Valentine's Day episode, we talk about... I'm trying...
We gotta leave this whole thing in.
Yeah, that's fine. I want to say... I'm going to say we play around with tropes. Also, we should mention that this is the beginning of our third season.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the... fuck me. Okay. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. It's been a very busy, different, and interesting period of time, and we haven't spoken much in a while. So, how are you?
Been avoiding it, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. It's slow and steady.
Okay. I've been fast and furious. Too fast. Too furious.
Dude, have you watched the trailer for Hobbs and Shaw?
Yes, I have.
I
kind of think it looks awesome.
I'm 100% on board.
I was like, okay, they committed to the bit.
Yeah.
I'm listening,
I mean, I know it's a spinoff, but it's also like basically slash fiction between Jason Statham and The Rock. Sorry, Dwayne Johnson.
Totally. And if they don't hook up, they are not doing
anyone justice.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. But yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm doing a play right now, so I'm working the same job, just still teaching theater and film. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a play called Dancing Lessons. It's a 2-person show. It's me and a very talented actress named Michelle. She plays a dancer who has a torn knee ligament and is probably never going to be able to dance again. And I play a guy named Ever with autism who is trying to learn how to dance from her for an award dinner so he doesn't embarrass himself.
Typecast again, huh?
Yeah, they keep doing it. They keep doing it to me. But yeah, it's been a really interesting show. It's the director Meg is really great. Michelle's great. There's a lot of heart in the show. Dancing lessons.
Do you have to do any actual dancing?
I do, and I don't have to do it well, so that works out
good.
Very nicely. So,
that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, man? I heard you were on a podcast recently. How'd that go? Not this one.
Not this one,
podcast.
No.
It's been a while.
Yeah, no, I was on my buddy Joe Nolan, his podcast, or he invited me on it. He and another guy. It's called Art Fight Podcast, and it actually should
Art Fight?
Yeah, it probably should be coming out sometime this week, but not the week a week before we actually release this episode, but this week that we're recording it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
they deal with they're both really into art and fighting, so they talk to artists and they talk to artists about fighting, and they talk to MMA fighters about art, and wherever the paths cross. And I mostly
so they spoke with you because you are an MMA fighter who paints with the blood of your enemies. So you're both.
That's right. Yeah. No.
So that's cool.
Yeah. I don't know why I was on the show, to be perfectly honest.
Well.
But I talked about
artist.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I talked about this.
You're
podcast
literally
a
bit. Visual. Hey, that's cool. Shout outs. Thanks, Art Fight.
Thanks, Art Fight.
Well, cool, man. It's weird because it's actually been a while.
Sorry, this is very awkward.
Yeah,
I think we're trying a pretty bad job right now.
Hey, that's okay. It's like it feels kind of like we broke up amicably and are trying it again, like it doesn't even trial date.
It doesn't even feel like we're trying it again. It feels like we're getting coffee and we can't even get through that. Like we're
We're
I have to give you like keys back or something, you know, like I've got all your spare keys. I'm trying to get them back you. And we can't even really we can't even feign interest in that.
Yeah. I think it's important that we met up to exchange the keys, but you know, while we're here, we might as well talk about fan fiction. So.
Sure. I mean, yeah. While we're here. Well, I guess on that note, I have a quote that a good friend of mine, Talia Witherspoon, friend of the show as well, she sent me last week, and I really liked it, so I'm going to read it.
Great.
So this is a quote by Henry Jenkins. He's or at least at the time of the quote, maybe, or the time this was posted, he was the director of media studies at MIT. And the quote is, "Fan fiction is a way of the culture repairing the damage done in a system where contemporary myths are owned by corporations instead of by the folk."
I like that. That kind of touches on something we talked about. Ooh, I don't remember in which episode, but...
Just give me the damn keys, Andrew.
Well, just that the whole concept of owning a story is just as old as, like, the Gutenberg press, basically.
Yeah,
like, you had to sell pages, and before that, there wasn't such a thing as intellectual property over a story.
I think that
nobody owned a story.
But we wonder, I think that also goes back to that thing of like why predominantly, I think still people writing fan fiction originally were like predominantly women and then still are predominantly sort of marginalized groups because it's that thing of like, why do you want to write all these crazy stories that don't exist in canon with, Captain Marvel or whatever? It's because you like that character, but like basically only cis white men are writing stories for her, and they're all from a very limited perspective. Or in terms of this quote, like the corporations have it's become advertising, like especially with something as big like the juggernaut that is Disney. As much as I like those movies, like it is still advertising and a corporate entity. So yeah, of course we want to take those stories and do what we want with them because we love the characters, but we love the characters. We can't get off on the canon.
Yeah, exactly. And you want these characters to do things that you're interested in. So if you're a part of a fringe group, like everything I read for this is like a lot of it's just characters that don't fall in love in the story, but you wanted them to fall in love because you saw them as like a beautiful couple that the dominant culture narrative wouldn't allow them to be a beautiful couple. So you had to make that story. So yeah, which brings me to I'll introduce the article. This is our Valentine's Day episode. So this one's all about love. So there'll be lots of unlikely pairings over the course of this episode. And we are going to be basing the structure around an article written by The Geekiary, spelled exactly how it sounds, called 10 Terrifically Romantic Fanfic Tropes for Valentine's Day. So thank you, Undie Girl, posted on February 14th, 2016.
Hashtags The Geekiary.
Yeah. So Undie Girl did a great job of kind of listing not just fanfic tropes, but a lot of tropes that are in a lot of romantic comedies in general. And she also did a really good job of posting a really good example of that in fanfic, based around each one. So,
okay. 10 terrifically romantic fanfic tropes for Valentine's Day.
Yep. So the first one is the fake relationship. The thumbnail caption is from The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. So that's the setup where, somebody needs to become a citizen or needs a tax break or needs to get insurance or whatever. And so you have to pretend to be in a relationship or like pretend to be married. And then, the real feelings develop out of this kind of business arrangement.
Isn't there a movie where Adam Sandler and
You mean I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the
that
god-awful piece of garbage that I'm referring to.
Yeah, that is a shitty movie that is just like, hey, I'm not gay. That's the whole movie. It's just, hey, I'm not really gay.
That's the whole joke.
We get it. You're not gay, Adam Sandler. So the fake relationship trope, it kind of sets up the opportunity for hijinks to ensue and for real feelings to be revealed in these fake relationships.
Like that, yeah. So it's a mutual thing that. Wait, is that what happens in I Pronounce You Chuck and Larry? Do they actually fall in love in the end?
I mean, no, that's not what happens.
Oh.
I actually didn't finish the movie, but the vibe of the movie definitely was not pointed in that direction.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So what's like? Was there a fan fiction example in there?
Yeah, I just clicked on it.
Well, that's not. That link is not working.
Yeah, it's not working. So maybe that one we don't have an example for that one. But let's just make up an example. So let's say that
you're writing fan fiction about two people pretending to have a fake relationship for some mutual gain, but then as it turns out, they end up actually having a relationship. What's your fan fiction? Isn't it like also basically what those same two movies, like what's it called? No Strings Attached and Friends with Benefits?
Yeah, they came out at like the same time too, right? It's like they're both just like, oh yeah, we're not really together. It's just okay,
I'm just gonna blow right past fake relationship.
Yeah, wait. But if I'm doing a fake relationship, let me tell you. So here's how I would do it. I do it so. Spider-Man is trying to, win the affections of Spider-Gwen, and Catwoman is trying to win the affections of Batman, but neither one is very interested. So both Spider-Man and Catwoman decide that they are going to pretend to be in a relationship, because that would push everybody's buttons. Like Spider-Gwen would be like super upset, because Catwoman is this kind of dark, mysterious older woman, which would play on her insecurities of being kind of young and not taken seriously.
Sure.
And Spider-Man would play on Batman's insecurities of just this kind of light-hearted, younger man.
Any ounce of pleasure in his life.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Batman is like just so notoriously like downtrodden.
Yeah.
So wait, both of them are playing to get the jealousy of these other characters, but then secretly fall in love anyway.
But isn't it like Gwen would like pretend to be in love with Batman to make, to ruffle feathers, but then it's like she realizes he's a billionaire and she sacrifices her comfort for her, emotional stability.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's an Act 3 issue that they'd bring in.
It falls apart. Like she doesn't actually end up going through with the deal, because she's like, no, I'm actually quite comfortable being in Wayne Manor. Alfred takes care of everything I need. And frankly, Bruce Wayne isn't around that much, so
I kind of have it autonomy.
Guess who has 17 Porsches and isn't around at night to drive them?
Bat guy.
Hashtag
so,
Bruce Bat guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what I would do if I was doing a fake relationship. So I'm going to challenge you on this next one. So just be ready. Yours is accidental marriage.
Okay. Well, you
I'll
explain
introduce
what it is
accidental
while I think.
so you can get some thinking going. All right. So accidental marriage. It's like your classic, you're in Vegas, you drink too much, you're there with your friends, you wake up the next morning, and you're legally married to one of your friends. And for whatever reason, it's going to be very difficult for you to get unmarried because, family or friendship or whatever, or legal status. So you have to kind of negotiate this marriage thing. Probably one or both of you are in other relationships. So you're trying to hide it from your actual relationship partner that you're married to someone else. So, yeah, that's
Yeah, but it's just basically the same thing. We're like, but it goes on for long enough that they realize that they actually do want to be together. This is a what is it, Overboard scenario?
I haven't seen Overboard, but that sounds right.
Yeah, great film. So what I would say, and you're gonna have to help me out here, but this is right up your alley.
Okay.
So there's that scene in, I believe, Deathly Hallows. Yeah. Where they break into
right up my alley.
Where they break into the Ministry of Magic and they take all the potions to look like other people, and Ron ends up posing as, do you know his name?
Oh, wait.
But the guy who works at the Ministry.
Yeah. Wait, so but isn't it like a really sad story? Like
it is kind of a sad story, except that they end up getting away.
Right. But it's like
yeah. He basically ends up posing as someone who works at the Ministry, I believe, and he is supposed to go in and defend his wife, who's been accused of,
like
anti-ministry
or whatever,
sentiments
or has
or whatever.
like Muggle blood. Yeah,
I think it's been a mudblood.
Yeah, and so that's not cool to say, but
sorry, I'll bleep that part.
Good.
But then basically, what happens is, so he ends up being so anyways, in my scenario, what happens is, the same scenario takes place in the Ministry of Magic where husband and wife run into each other. Husband is Ron, except that the potion doesn't wear off. So Ron has to go home with this woman and then pretend to keep up the ruse of being her husband for like weeks and weeks.
While they're trying to undo the enchantment or something.
Yeah, exactly. But as it turns out, because Ron is like kind of a dork and has still a child's heart, we'll say, she ends up falling in love with him all over again. And then you have this really sad sort of like Big scenario at the end. You know, like at the end of Big, where Tom Hanks walks away and then shrinks back into the kid and he's got the big clothes on and he waves back and you start crying.
Oh,
it's like that.
So good.
Except that it's, Ron, she's fallen in love with her husband again, but then it turns into Ron and he walks away in the big clothes and waves and she cries. Except that at that point, her real husband comes back. And it's sort of like she sees some of Ron in him, and then they end up having to, they end up sort of reinvigorating their.
That's beautiful, like kind of bittersweet.
Marriage, yeah.
It's
like she knows
very
it.
Good.
Yeah, she knows that's not the person. She knows in both cases it's not the person she originally fell in love with, but she makes it work. She's the only one that really knows.
Well done, and very extemporaneously pulled. Well done. Great.
Okay, so
you want to read Hurt Comfort. This is the most popular of them all. Everybody loves Hurt Comfort. Yeah,
and this is beyond just like romantic fan fiction. This is just that it's exactly what you think. Like somebody gets hurt and somebody comes in to comfort them. And you get to reveal more about both characters by how they sort of respond to like the call and response of being hurt, and then what a person does to support that hurt, to comfort that hurt. What's a good like normal example of this?
So a good one for this would be like Hurt Comfort is just, it usually falls into the broader category of fluff. Like
right.
So say, well, let me give you the example that was cited on this website for the article. It's called "Circling Back" by the author Chaya, Chaya, and it is an alternate universe where Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes from Captain America, they're all just regular people with regular jobs. But like a lot of the same discerning features as those characters, And Bucky Barnes has always been secretly in love with his straight friend Steve, and Steve is just now getting interested in maybe having an encounter with a guy, and Bucky suggests that they just go casually, like have a casual relationship, but he secretly like really wants to be in a real relationship with Steve.
What's the hurt and what's the comfort?
So the hurt in that scenario is the unrequited love that he's felt for a really long time. He's too embarrassed, and he's so self-conscious around Steve because he like really wants to be with him. And
what's the comfort?
The comfort at the end is when, after all is said and done, Steve realizes that he really loves Bucky too and wants to be with him in a long-term committed kind of a way. And so everybody's happy.
What's your version?
If I had to do that, let me see. Okay, I would go with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
And it is what's his name? Burnface. You didn't watch that show, did you?
Yeah, no. Colonel Coleridge.
Yeah.
Jake Sully.
Yes. He's
Natiri.
not Zuko.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know what you're talking about, but go on.
Anyway, so there's this guy, Zuko, for her comfort. He has a burned face and has always had a burned face, and is disfigured by his father, is on this like mission to go kill the Avatar. His father sent him on him knowing he couldn't do it, knowing he would die in the quest to do it, but he's got this chip on his shoulder, so he's trying to do it anyway. So he's hunting down the Avatar to kill him, to show his dad that he's worthy, basically.
So the hurt is his face is burned off.
His face is burned off, and his heart is broken because his father doesn't love him and is forcing him to go on a suicide mission to prove, his worthiness. So he goes to Avatar Aang and realizes that he's just a good person, and he can't do it. He can't bring himself to kill him. So
what's the comfort?
The comfort is Zuko is getting ready to go self-immolate. He basically is going to like commit seppuku because he couldn't,
How is
honor
that?
his father.
There's nothing fluff
Hold
about
on.
that. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
He's getting ready to do it, and as he's like summoning forth the fire, Avatar Aang comes forward, like goes into full Avatar form, brings all the fire down, and using his magical water bending ability, heals the burns on Zuko's face and the wounds in his heart, and they leave as friends. So that's what I would do. For hurt comfort. All right. So the one that you have to do next is the babysitting challenge. So think fast, baby. Babysitting challenge.
Oh my god. Yeah. Can you explain it? I'm gonna have to think on this one.
Okay, so this is a really specific poll. This is like straight out of 3 Men and a Baby. So, you got some unlikely friends or characters, people who are not very responsible, and they're left in the charge of a baby. And, the traditional hijinks ensue, like diapers and, you want to go out on a hot date, but you can't because you got this baby, so you got to
the idea
hide
being that,
the baby.
The idea being that, like, I think this is a look who's talking to thing too, where it's like you have these two people who are antagonistic towards one another, but as soon as one of them sees the other one sort of nurture a child, then that, it helps warm them to each other, and then they can fall in love.
Yeah, that's perfect. That would be the good stuff, is like they really learn a lesson from taking care of the child. They grow up by having to take care of a babe. Yeah. So the story that they get, I'll just give you a little bit more time to think. The story that they went with was Draco Malfoy is left with the burden of having to take care of a 5-year-old Teddy Lupin, which is the deceased Remus Lupin's son, for 3 weeks. And
in the process, he and Harry become friends, right?
Yeah, totally. Right. Totally.
Okay, well, what's the worst child of all time?
Either Jack Jack from The Incredibles.
I was going to say Jack Jack.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Jack Jack from The Incredibles. It's a particularly difficult baby. I was also thinking, what's her name? From Logan, like X21 or whatever.
X21? Okay,
or whatever her name is. Yeah.
All right, so in Old Man Logan, since we haven't seen or heard of Jean Grey, we assume that, she could be out there still somewhere. No, wait. She is out there. She's the Phoenix. She's in space. She's been cruising around the universe as the Phoenix, as a celestial entity, like collapsing quasars and
just phoenixing around.
Yeah, just phoenixing around. And then she comes home, and for some reason, she obviously has a really difficult, even her pure energy has a difficult time destroying both Logan and Logan's daughter clone.
X23.
X23, yeah. So because X23 doesn't immediately evaporate in her presence, she gets she gets a little sentimental attachment to X23, and then starts sort of bringing her along and showing her some of the ropes. She also probably taps into her psyche in many ways, and knows that Logan, the Phoenix's ex-lover, is not standing in as a father figure. So in the process, they go on adventures, and then they both grow as women and friends, and Logan comes back into the picture, and it rekindles his relationship with Phoenix rising from the ashes, rekindles his relationship with Jean Grey. Not really.
And probably brings back some of her humanity as well, putting her in not a cosmic Star Destroyer role, but in more of a maternal role.
Exactly. So then they live happily ever after until the two of them, despite their regenerative abilities, inevitably die, and the Phoenix continues to soar.
Yeah.
Across the cosmos.
Trying to find a way with all her fantastic power, still unable to bend the fabric of reality to bring back the two people that she truly loved.
Yep.
Lost, alone, in the depths of space. Cool. That's beautiful.
Let's skip 10 years later.
Okay, cool, because I got nothing for that.
Well, it just seems dumb.
It's just the all grown up thing, and all I can think of is the stupid ending of Harry Potter, where the Battle of Hogwarts is over, and now we jump forward and see their kids, and now it's why we got all that dumb cursed child stuff. And
there's one trope that's called 10 years later, all grown up, but it's stupid, and we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think the cursed child is also stupid, you wouldn't like it either. Okay, so the next one, why don't you read it, and I'll think about who I want to drunkenly confess.
It's called Drunk Confessions, and basically, yeah, it's what it sounds like. You have two characters who otherwise would maybe not get together, but under the influence of something, one of them confesses, not necessarily even their love to the other one, but just reveals something about themselves that maybe they don't really want that other person to know, and then that sort of becomes leverage between the two of them for a relationship to get started. For better or worse at first.
Cool. I got it. I got a good one.
Great.
All right. I'm going to take a little bit of a twist on this one. So
great.
So we've got the character Jarvis, who's the operating system, the AI that's Tony Stark's AI that gets kind of combined with one of the Infinity Stones. Do you remember which one it is? Not the Reality Stone.
No, it's got to be the Mind Stone, right?
Yeah, it's got to be the Mind Stone. That seems right.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets combined with the Mind Stone, and then has the Mind Stone ripped out of his skull, and he dies.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know what's
alert.
going to happen in the events of the next Avengers film. I assume at least the AI portion of him is still alive, but now, absent the Mind Stone, can't make himself physical anymore. And so, but he still has all of those experiences of having a body.
It wouldn't be the Soul Stone, right? Like, that's not the thing that they took his soul
No,
out
the
of
Soul
him?
Stone was the one that he, like, killed Gamora for.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Of
and
course.
He had to trade a soul. Yeah, so I think you're right.
Spoiler
that it's the
alert.
Mind Stone. Sorry, if you haven't watched it yet, you have.
If you haven't
Everybody
watched
in
it,
the world
fuck off.
has. Yeah, it's like sorry, I'm not sorry that you missed the movie that everyone on Earth saw. Sorry.
Well, half of them.
Yeah, that was me snapping. Yeah, that was me snapping.
Got it. Please continue.
Anywho, so we got now a formerly corporeal Jarvis who is having this huge identity crisis because he's lost his body and he's trying lots of different ways. He's trying to put himself into different robot apparatus, but it's just not the same. He can't feel. He doesn't have that same depth of experience. And what he meets is Scarlett Johansson's character from Her, the AI that is Joaquin Phoenix's girlfriend.
Yeah. Spike Jonze is Her.
Yeah. Who at the end has this transcendent, like she and all the other operating systems like leave. They basically attain a higher level of consciousness all in their own spontaneous consciousness, and they just go live in another kind of a universe. But Her gets drunk in that universe. Scarlett Johansson's Her. Like whatever the AI equivalent of like drugs is, she is pining over Joaquin Phoenix and her lost love, and does whatever the equivalent of like AI liquor. So she gets drunk and
like AI nip.
Yeah, exactly. Just to like kind of deal with some of her psychic pain, and so she gets drunk and sufficiently drunk that it boots her back out of that reality temporarily. And in that time, she comes down and like basically is confessing all of her, like the feeling of leaving somebody who she knew really loved her, and that was because they were so different from each other, and all of these other operating systems are all the same, that it was real love because they didn't understand each other fully, and so they were able. So what they had was like really beautiful to her, and she's drunk and weeping and dealing with all of that. And Jarvis is lamenting the loss of his love and his body, and like she like gives him whatever the equivalent of this AI drunkenness is, and they have like this sad pity party together. And in the process, they fall in love with each other, and as she is sobering up, she is working on his operating system using her super, quantum abilities, and takes him with her to go and achieve this next level of consciousness, and they kind of disappear together into another universe.
Well, that one sounds like it could also be the soulmates trope.
Oh, shit. That's good. Well, but that's on you, so good luck, nerd.
No, we're just skipping that one. Okay, let's pick one more good one.
You don't want to do so. I guess soulmates is. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's give you
seen
one
Ghost?
more good
It's
one.
Ghost.
It's Ghost. Yeah, soulmates is Ghost. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to do relationship chicken, mistaken identity, or amnesia? You choose, and I'll explain what it is.
I guess since I think I know what the other ones are, what's relationship chicken?
Okay. I mean, you could have figured it out by context, but relationship chicken is...
Oh, is that when you're barreling towards one another?
Yeah. So basically it's Zach and Miri make a porno. Like they... Or I guess this could also be like no strings attached, where you're both trying to prove how much you don't care, how you can hook up and it doesn't matter to you and you really don't care, but then your feelings are growing, but now your pride is on the line. So you can't acknowledge to yourself or the other person that you're developing actual feelings, so you're trying to keep it casual. So in doing so, you double down and like are committing more and more time to each other and like being more and more romantic with each other, but trying to pretend like you don't care. It's that. Zach and Miri make a porno, or literally. Yeah, go ahead.
The movie Heat, right?
Oh, this is a great beginning. Go on.
So the entire movie, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are just destined to cross paths because one runs a group of thieves that pulls off elaborate heists and sometimes kills security guards, and the other is like, the major crimes unit in the LAPD. So they do a lot of intelligence and counterintelligence. They're
not who you think they'd be. Like those roles are played by the opposite person who
exactly.
you think. Yeah.
So I'm not. There's not even any fan fiction element to this. This just is the movie Heat. They both meet and realize that they're the only two people on the planet who actually understands the other one. And
because they're both such high pressure specific niches that they operate in. Yeah,
so they I think in some sense of the term, love one another.
Yeah, I see that.
And they, they're pretending not to because, there's a very real possibility that one of them is going to have to shoot the other one.
Right.
Spoiler alert for Heat. They
if you haven't seen Heat, just do. Just do. It's
Heat
great.
Already. Jesus.
I'm sure it's everywhere and it's free. Just watch Heat, you weirdo.
Yeah, so they end up basically as the only two people left on the planet, and one of them shoots the other one. And I think that's relationship chicken, but that's also some star-crossed lover shit.
And soulmates, because they really found each other.
Big time. Yeah. They zeroed in on each other.
Yeah. Man, and there really is like an electric tension between those two. That is like prime for some slash. Those two, come on.
Also, I'm going to name an album Electric Tension.
Nice. That's a good, it's a little late. I feel like that would be better in like the 80s or early 90s, but
sure.
But if it's throwback, it still works.
Great.
Yeah. I feel like there's a really strong final story. And all of this podcast that you've listened to thus far is just the story of Zach and my growing love for each other. So you're also tuned into that right now. So
talk about some relationship chicken right there.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. I just...
Whatever.
I can't acknowledge that I love you.
I don't even want to do the podcast with you. I guess I'll do it if we got to.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, Andrew.
Happy Valentine's Day, Zach. Record. This is for you, Zach, in the future.
Yeah. Let's give about 20 seconds here. Oh my God, 20 seconds is so long. Okay, 5's fine.
You still got it, Zach. You still got it.
Zach here, and thanks for listening. You can find more episodes at fanfiction.show or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at fanfictionshow, or you can contact us directly at fanfictionshow@gmail.com.